And this discussion led to a number of questions from the audience.
So my work with the level 1 students is around an assignment that they had to write, which is they could choose one of two subtopics. They could either write about their favorite food, or write about the top 10 moments in their life, so in their food life, so to speak. And so I'm seeing them in groups of 2 to 4, and we're going over their assignment, and I'm giving them tips and ideas on how to make the assignment as good as they can make it, because I won't be grading it. The gastronomy teacher will be, so I'm kind of on their side and helping them do as well as they can. And one thing that I'm really finding really interesting, and it feels like a privilege to be with them as this happens and to help them do that, is that they tend to write about things in a rather factual way. They will talk about a particular experience or a particular family tradition in terms that are fairly practical. They will talk they will just state the facts. And I'm trying to help them see which detail they can pull into the story, so that all of a sudden, rather than just a flat anecdote, all of a sudden the characters come to life, and you understand the significance of that particular food or episode, just from kind of pulling a thread and helping them see that it's about a lot more than what they were really saying, in as many words. So I can name an example. For instance, is that it's one of the student chefs who was writing about a duck salad that his chef had cooked for him during a slow service, and it was a fantastic duck salad. So my initial question was, what kind of a duck salad was it? Was it a duck breast? How was it cooked? Because I kind of want to know, what was so special about that duck salad. But then my secondary thought was, wait, is this, this chef cooking that duck salad for you? Did he just cook that duck salad for you, or was it part of the staff meal? And so it turns out that the chef had cooked that salad just for him. And I was like, well, tell me more about that relationship, because it sounds very special that your chef would cook a duck salad just for you. And as it turns out, that student had found kind of a mentor and a father figure in that chef, who was really, who had seen potential in him and was really trying to expose him to the widest array of flavors and really kind of mentoring him into the kitchen. And so all of a sudden, the significance of that duck salad was a lot more than whether it's a breast or if it's seared or cured. And all of a sudden, it was about, finding someone to relate to and accompany you, in whatever career path you choose. So that's one example of what we're trying to achieve with the workshops. I studied it in English back in 2003 because all blogs were in English back then, and it just made sense to join that community. It was also a good way for me to keep my English skills alive, because I had been back in France for about a year and just missed the opportunity to speak the language. But in 2007, I started a French companion version. So I actually write the posts. Weirdly enough, I write them in English first and then translated them into French, just because I'm just it's the habit that I have.
I can improve my French by reading your blog.
Okay, great.
The other question is, do you have a favorite food writer yourself?
I guess I would have to name MFK Fisher, just because she seems the mother of all food writers, and I find it refreshing to read what she wrote at a time where there wasn't a lot of food writing, and so it just seems so genuine and fresh, the way that she was expressing that. I have to say it's a pity that if you, I think it's good to still call your grandmother if because it makes people feel very special when you ask them for advice on food. But I find that not everyone has a grandmother that they can call, and not everyone has in their family or in their close circle people that they can ask that kind of information. And so I do find that blogs have become kind of a foster family for people who don't have that in their real life, and it does feel very special. And I find that in general, bloggers are very supportive, and they're usually, as I was saying earlier, people who like to share and generous people. So unless they're completely swamped with questions, you can usually count on them to answer questions. So I do think it's a wonderful tool to turn to. Yeah. I think that, as you know, on average, the level has gone up just because there's a lot more people writing, and those, you know, writing is like a muscle that you have to exercise, and so there's a lot of people who would not be writing if they did not have a blog, because if there was no one to read what they have to say, you know, they might not feel, you know, pushed to do it. So I would say that as a group, there's probably better writers all around. An important difference between having a blog and publishing something in a book is the absence of presence of an editor, and so a lot of blogs could, you know, can become kind of stream of consciousness writing, and it's completely understandable, and because, you know, you're kind of writing as you please, and there's no you know, constraint of space or but I feel that when I have the opportunity to write for magazines that have good editors, it's really an opportunity for me to polish my writing, and I think that everyone benefits from working with a good editor, but they're not all, you know, sometimes it can kind of ruin, well, it's a matter of opinion, of course, but, you know, working with a good editor can really help you, you know, hone your skills, and that's not something that you have access to as a blogger. I can't speak from the perspective of a restaurant owner, because that's certainly a difficult thing. You know, those reviews and those negative comments are out there, and there isn't much you can do about their presence unless there's some way to pay for them to go away. I heard that was an option at some point. I don't know if it still is. But I find with negative comments, and I've been fortunate so far, and knock on wood, and don't get any ideas, but so far the comments that I'm getting are generally supportive, and I haven't really had problems with people who were you know, very, very, you know, aggressive. Or I've had a few, though, and sometimes it happens, and it's never a pleasant experience. But what I have found over time is that if you can get past the initial defensiveness and hurt that you can feel especially when it comes with a kind of a personal attack, and you feel that you just rub those people the wrong way, and, you know, there isn't much you can do about it. So once you get past that and you kind of pull away the personal attacks and everything, it's usually the case that you can find some nugget of truth or some lesson to learn from that experience, and then it doesn't feel like it was such a negative experience after all. You know, maybe you will find that there was a better way to write about that particular subject, or maybe next time you should be more careful not to something or other. And when it comes to restaurant reviews, I imagine that there's also a way that you know, if people felt that they waited too long altogether, is this true or is it not? That they felt that the portions were too small, is it just because they're used to gigantic portions, or is it that you should really give a little more in terms of, you know, that your portions should be more filling? It feels like you can really turn these things around and turn them into an opportunity to learn, or to learn a lesson, or to improve whatever it is that you do. It's hard though, but. It depends. I moderate comments, So I will publish those comments that are not insulting or personal attacks, but I welcome constructive criticism, and I will publish and respond to those, because I feel that a blog is a good place to have discussions, and it's certainly okay for people not to agree with me. I will not, however, publish those that and I have had a few that are funny, in retrospect, but things that are just so personal and so insulting that really there's, I wouldn't allow someone to tell me that to my face in my house, and so there's no way that I will allow that on my blog, which is kind of my virtual, unlight house. So. All right. Well, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.